That's a lot of suspension.
So as from the clip you've just seen, I've somehow managed to collect a lot of suspension for the Polaris Scrambler. So this is just a bit of a rundown on suspension, mainly aimed at the Polaris Scrambler, because there is long travel, standard travel. I mean, what we've got here, we've got TFX factories, custom axis, TFX Gen 1, TFX factory long travel, and then here PET PB1s. That's the main reason for wanting to do this video, was they were a bit of a surprise, and it's getting to the point now where I need to get them mounted on the bike, so this video needs to sort of get done. So I'm going to tidy a few of these away, and I'm going to leave us with the factory long travel and the factory standard travel. I will dive into the other brands in a minute, but we'll just get the standard travel and long travel bit out of the way first. So just give me a second. Right, so standard travel, long travel, exactly the same suspension, bar one difference. The rears on the standard travel are dual rate, whereas the rears on the long travel are single rate. Right, so single rate and dual rate quickly. Single rate is one spring, which consists of a certain spring rate of £200, for example, whereas this will have a dual rate, so this bottom spring may be £200, this top one may be £300. Pounds is just a unit. There's newtons per millimetre, there's kilograms per millimetre, there's, I think it's pounds per inch. So when I say pounds, it's pounds per inch. I think that means it's how many, don't quote me on this, I believe it's how much force is required to compress that spring 1 inch. Sodding camera keeps cutting off. So where we're at, pounds per inch, I believe it's how much weight, as in pounds, is required to compress that spring an inch. So right then, long travel and standard travel. The rears, whether it's a long travel for the Polaris Scrambler, whether it's a long travel set or a standard travel set, the rears are the same. Let's not have that fall off there. So the rears, handy tape measure, eye to eye, approximately 50 centimetres centre to centre. Approximately, don't quote me on it, might be slightly more, slightly less. Nothing crazy. And then for the long travel set, again, 50. So, let's double check that. I think that's about these. There's about a centimetre difference in them, but I think that's because how the ride height's set. Which there's about half a centimetre in it. Yeah. So there's about 5mm difference in them. But that's because I think how the preload's set. Anyway, so rears are the same, long travel or standard travel. That's not the difference. The difference is fronts. Now, to run long travel fronts, you must have a long travel arm. Now, you can get various manufacturers that do these. I've got Teixeira Tech and J Parts. I believe High Lift do some as well, but those are the only ones I've used, Teixeira Tech and J Parts. So, centre to centre on the standard travel, you're looking at 41 centimetres. On the long travel, I know it may not seem a massive difference, you're looking at 43. Yeah, approximately 43. And again, I think there's more in that. I think it's just how the ride height's set and the preload on these. That's round all the way up and that's round all the way down. So either way, I think actually the rough consensus is there's about an inch of travel difference. So to get that inch of travel though, your A-arms must have a different pivot point. And this comes down to this part here. So on the Texeras, these are a long travel set. From the end, so it's like mounting hole to end, looking at about 6.5 inch. Whereas this is a standard set, and you are looking, that's a bit harder to measure, you're looking at more like 7.5. So that means that that pivot point is closer in, meaning that distance is shorter. And this distance here is further out, that meaning that distance is longer. So that is short and long travel on the Polaris Scrambler. I'm sure that applies to lots of different brands. I'm sure that's how they all do it, by just moving a arm pivot point. But that is the general gist. So that's standard travel and long travel covered. I've covered briefly dual rate and single rate. So what I see a lot of people do for setup is they will have a dual rate front and a single rate rear. Now I spoke to the guy at Custom Axis, I believe he's called Micah. He explained, he's their suspension guru, and he said the bike behaves better with a single rate rear, as with the dual rate rear it seemed to kick. So that was just their testing, and that was with Team UXC, which were the factory team in America or the US. And I know a few people have been over there to race for them, and they've said whatever they did there with their machines and their suspension was second to none. So yeah, these are double rate rears, which isn't optimal but still works quite well. I ran these for a while. So my progression on suspension on the Scrambler, they come with the standard, the 1000 XP comes with standard Fox. They've got plastic valve internals, and you soon run out of talent very quick on them. I know, because I have a video of me going arse over tit. I'll put that in if I've got it. Then I moved on to the gold RC2s by Fox. Again, they were good. I soon came to the limit of them quite quickly. Then I was approached by TFX, and I had a deal with them, and that's where these came from. Very good shock. I ran these, and these got me my first ever British Championship win, so I'm eternally grateful to these shocks. At the time, I wasn't the fittest or the best rider, so I really don't think I got the best out of these. So I will still be running TFX this year on one of my bikes, but it will be the long travel set when I've got them cleaned up as well. That's another reason I got all the shocks out, was I need to actually clean them all up. So I will still be using TFX at some point. So from the TFX then, I then had a bike from America which had the Custom Axis on, and the setup on them I sort of just fell in love with from the start, and I tried to use them mainly. So I used them for the last two races of 21? Yeah, 21. And then the first two races of 22. And after second race 22, I hung up my riding boots per se for the rest of the year and a half. Yeah, probably a year and a half. I had quite a nasty injury in my shoulder, and I couldn't compete. Plus I had a lot of study going on with finishing my apprenticeship, and loads of personal life got in the way, long story short. And then I missed it a lot. I missed racing a lot. The plan was in that year and a half I was going to build them up and sell them, and had enough of it. And they just sat here in pieces. So they never got built and they never got sold. And then one day I was sitting on a training course, and I rang my dad and said, can we have another go at racing? He said, yeah, as long as you build the bikes back up. So I did. I built one initially because I was just going to have one to go racing last year, which I did. And that was a Texera Tech -1 setup. So it was an inch narrower per side, and that's what I got from the US with my custom axis shocks. Worked really, really well last year, that did. There's always room for improvement, no denying, but that was pretty sweet. But for this year, I've gone back to full width setup, but I'm going with some narrower wheels, so that will make it the same width but turn better. Because last year I had 4+3 offset wheels, this year I'm going for 6+1, so they're a narrow wheel, means you will turn better. I've had that style of wheel before and they turn really well, but I had the opportunity from someone, from Nick Key actually, to buy these, and they had been used for I think 4 hours at most, and he got them brand new. They are a hell of a shock, and the last person to do really well on a scrambler, Jason, did amazing on a set of peps, so thought I'd give them a go. Everybody's got their own opinion. Some people love them, some people hate them. I'm going to give it a go. So that is why I've partly made this video, so I can get them on there without being such a surprise. I'm actually going to start sharing a couple of these videos into the Scrambler Facebook groups as well. Hopefully it helps a few more people and reaches a few more people then. But yeah. Suspension, anything better than the standard Fox is an upgrade. If you can avoid the gold Fox RC2s, I would. If you're going for an option, I'll go for these. TFX N10Z factories. The support is always there from hands at TFX. Brilliant company, and they will build the shock to what you need, your weight, your riding style, the type of riding you do, whether it's extreme, cross country like I do. They even build them for 450s, so motocross and things like that, and beach racing. They will build the shocks for you. It's a custom bespoke shock at the end of the day. What else is there? A-arms, like I say, Texture Tech or J-Parts for cross-country racing. Don't think there is any others really worth mentioning. Slowly running out of things to say, which is very unlike me. But suspension, again, people, I see it a lot in America. I don't quite get how the setup works out there, but I see a lot of people talking about sending their shocks off to get set up and things by a company. Whereas over here in the UK, we don't really have that luxury. I mean, we do have a couple of places that do suspension, but if you want to set up your shocks, you put them on your bike and you go to a practice place and you test. You change a couple of the clickers, so your rebound or your compression, and your ride height or your spring rates, so the different weights I mentioned earlier, and you change it yourself and you find what works best for you. It's such a personal thing. I don't get how you can send the shock off to somebody and then get it back and somehow they can magic it to your liking. I don't fully understand that, but that may be me being naive. However, this is a brief overview of suspension for the Scrambler. Shocking, I know. Very poor pun there. But yeah, Pep PB1s for me, for the second bike for this year, or the main bike. I'm going to test them against the TFX long travel and see how they go. I'm just going to ride the both of them. I will have a bit of a video coming on wheels and brakes as well, because they sort of go hand in hand on these machines. So if you notice, I use double piston brakes, whereas on the standard bikes they come with single pistons. And if you try and just put these on without the brackets, they catch and you can't run 12-inch rims. So therefore I also run 12-inch rims. So this is just a bit of a overview as such. I'm hoping it will prompt a couple of questions and I can answer them, but if not, then hopefully it's helped someone. Again, like I say, as long as it helps one person, it's worth me doing. Just trying to share a bit of knowledge because I do get asked a few questions. A fellow in Romania asked me the other day about suspension. That was an interesting conversation. And then again, I've got a couple of people in the US, someone from the Netherlands as well, William. So, hope people are enjoying them. Either way, I can't wait to get actually riding. I can show you what we actually do then. So, hope you've enjoyed it, and see you all later.